I got my first bow when I was 5 years old, and I fell in love with it. Something about getting that close to the animals and being that close to nature is something that sank and sat well with me growing up, and my dad really instilled that in me at a young age. I remember the first big buck that I ever saw in my life. I was 3 years old, and I'll never forget it. I was in my dad's tree stand with him. He was holding me in a blanket, and it had 11 points and a drop tine on its right side. From that moment on, I was hooked for life. One thing that I held close to my heart when I was little is my parents always promised me that they would be together for the rest of their lives. When I looked at them, I saw a relationship that would last forever. And then when I was going to 7th grade, that all changed. My parents got divorced out of nowhere, and it turned my world upside down. Going through divorce, my mom went to a really dark place and did some things that I never could have imagined she would have done. And I was left with a household with a mom that wasn't in the picture. My dad wasn't living with us, and I was raising my younger brother and my sister. I had no idea what I was doing, and I was trying to deal with my mom doing what she was doing, and I was helping my brother and my sister make the right decisions every day, while I was still learning myself how to make those right decisions. I was always very close with God. My relationship was really strong, and everybody knew that about me. But I went through a place where it was scary in a sense. Continuing through those hard times in my life through high school, I found that I started to drift from God a little bit. And I realized that I was becoming weaker. Well, everybody around me thought I was getting stronger because most kids going through what I went through would just collapse and they would give in completely. But I noticed that every time I went through a tough time, God always had my bow in my room. It was right there. And I would look at that and I'd say, you know what, I'm gonna go out today, I'm gonna shoot. And going through the divorce showed me how important bow hunting was for me. Going through that struggle in my life, it became more of just a hobby. It was therapy. Shooting my bow was the one thing that I could do that would shut everything else out that was going around me. It would shut it down. When I was a senior, my girlfriend Kate came down to Liberty, and at that point I was getting right back on track, and I realized I wasn't who I wanted to be the last year, and I slipped a little bit. But I visited her at Liberty, and I fell in love with the school because I realized that the teachers were teaching the Word of God in class, and I've never seen that in my life before. And everybody on campus they just seemed different. I didn't have to worry about sticking out because I didn't party or drink or do drugs or anything like that. I could be who I wanted to be and fit in. I came into Liberty, and the first semester, everything was going well, but I didn't know that Liberty had an archery team. So I emailed the coach, Ian Rigney, and he said, hey, we're starting up in the spring, come by practice and we'll get you started. So I did, and now I'm on the team full-fledged, and it's the highlight of my week every week. Today, God has flipped my life around 180 degrees. My mom, 2 years ago, I wasn't even talking to her, and yesterday she just went home from a visit. And we're very close now, and she is a whole different woman, and that is thanks to Christ. Because for a long period of my life, I didn't have a mom anymore, and now I can say that I do. And for me to go shoot my bow now, even though everything around me is going well, I'm happy, I have everything going for me, but in the times of my deepest, darkest struggles, God had that there for me then too. And when I speak to people now, it's like I try to figure out how I can help them get closer to God, because this is the ultimate relationship. For me to be as close as I am to God now is what I really want everyone around me to have that same experience.